And as the name may suggest, and Boris is opening it up right now, it's a tool which allows you to automate your MT5 backtests. As you may know, in MT5, you can backtest your EA with the built-in strategy tester. So basically, you select your EA and you pick your time frame and your configuration, you run the test and you see the results. And then you may change configuration, your parameters, and you rerun it again. Then you may change the symbol and rerun it again. You're gonna do this over and over and over again until you're either too tired or you give up or you're too exhausted, because it is very, very tedious to specify all these backtests manually. And what we did is we developed a tool which will do all this hard labor for you. So, and Boris will demo this tool to you right now. We call this tool the MT5 Portfolio Tester, and it's actually super easy to use. So the first step, what you would do is you pick the installation path of your MT5 installation.
So I'm gonna kind of run this like as the dummy that I am. So the first step we do is we hit the browse button, and we find. And in this case, we're going to use MT5, but this works the same way with MT4, kind of the same process. But because Daniel has created a newer version that they're working with MT5, I wanted to just show you the latest software version, which is MT5 driven. But the same principles work on MT4. So we're going to hit the browse button. We're going to find, and as you can see, I have a million MT5 installations. We're going to find this installation, say OK, and boom, instantaneously, what pops out here, Daniel? Tell them what just popped out.
Exactly. So what you just saw populate is in the test runs panel, all these symbols which you have currently installed or loaded in your MT5 installation are preloaded. Remember, in the navigator in MT5, you can add new symbols to it. For example, if a futures contract expires and the new contract comes up, you would have to change or update that symbol. And as soon as you do this in MT5, it will also populate this new symbol in the MT5 Portfolio Tester tool. Yeah.
So, there are many of you who have no idea what the hell these symbols are and are looking and going, what is this crap? So understand, I'm American, which means I'm not allowed to trade CFDs, which means that I'm only allowed to trade futures. Now, one great thing about being American is that we, over the last year, Chicago Mercantile Exchange introduced something called e-micro futures. E-micro futures are the exact same futures as the basic futures, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the Russell, but they are 1/10 the size. So to understand that in FX or CFD land, they basically are $1 a pip, give or take, right? They're basically $1 a pip. In futures, we use the word tick, and it's like more for a point, but same idea. In other words, in the big contract, 1 point in the S&P is worth $50. Now remember, the S&P could move 100 points a day, right? So that's like $5,000. Whereas on the micro contract, it's just $5. So that means even if it moves $100 a day, it's only $500 against me. And these are just the micro symbols for the NASDAQ. NQ is NASDAQ, ES is the S&P, YM is the Dow, and M2K is the Russell. These are the 4 primary U.S. stock indices that trade 24 hours a day, and that's just what that's just what we're going to use to kind of guide you through. But for those of you who are non-Americans, just think of this as NASDAQ, S&P, Dow, and Russell. And I will translate that. I'm not going to stick to the future symbols. I will translate the actual underlying index for you, so you understand what it is that we're testing as we go through. Okay.
Yeah, maybe just one comment. So the tool is not limited to just these 4 symbols. For example, if you use MT5 for Forex trading, all the installed Forex symbols will be loaded. This is just what Boris has right now in his MT5 installation.
That's right, correct. So again, because in America, MT5 can only trade futures, and to that end, and I only trade stock indices. I could put currency futures on here if I wanted to also. I could trade gold here. I could trade micro gold. I could do a million different things, but all futures based. That's all it is. The symbols are unlimited. If you have every FX symbol in the world and every CFD symbol in the world in your navigator in MT5, all of it can be here. Like there is no. I'm keeping it simple and clean so that you're not overwhelmed with a massive amount of symbols. And you could also, by the way, add or deduct, subtract them so that you can just narrow it down to a certain set. But to make for demonstration purposes and simplicity purposes, we're keeping it to U.S. stock index futures because that's what I trade in VK. My specialty is trading stock indices basically, and we're going to run some ideas against those indices. So next step, Daniel, what do we do next?
Yes. So the next step. So let's say you would like to run a back test of your favorite EA. So the first thing is what you do. You pick the EA you would like to test. So if you go down, Boris, to the EA field, you pick the EA that you have in mind. For example, Session Trader plus long.
Right. See, I have a whole bunch of crazy EAs, but the EA that we're running is the Session Trader plus 11. That's the EA that we're running in the room. Okay.
Then you can either run this EA in its default configuration, or you can load a preset. That's basically a saved file where your config parameters are set.
Right.
So
which one are we using?
We'll pick in the session trader
preset. Okay. So we're going to use a preset. Okay.
Perfect.
Then we're going to go ahead.
So next, instead of initiating this back test manually for each symbol and time frame, what we can do on the tool is we can actually run it on all time frames and symbols at once if you'd like to do so. So we can either pick individual symbols or say select all.
Yeah, or I can unselect few, or I can do this kind of stuff. But basically, it's very cool. Unselect all, very, very really easy and simple and quick. So far it's been literally one click. So far it's been a couple of pull downs and one click. That's all I've needed to kind of set this up. Okay, what's next?
So next we select the time frames we'd like to test the EA on. So let's maybe pick.
And again, just to sort of show you, I can get crazy. I can literally do this, push the run test, go to sleep, wake up, and have everything that I wanted. I could, Daniel actually did this where we ran 753 tests totally without any intervention. And then we had this beautiful result. Or I can be a little more selective and look at a couple of time frames that may interest me. So what do you suggest, Daniel?
Let's pick for this configuration, M6, M10, and M12.
M12, okay.
And before you hit run test, just a few more words. If you go up a little bit, you can also set the start date and the end date of your test runs. So maybe pick the start date for July 1st. Keep it a bit longer. End date is fine. Modeling and delay, these are the same parameters that you can set in the MT5 strategy tester. So you have the same options here, but we're just going to keep the default options. Deposit is your account size. Leverage is the leverage to be used. And one important thing is the output folder, because at the end of the portfolio test, a results file will be saved, and the output folder will determine where this file will be placed.
Right. Hey, Daniel, do you mind if I change the deposit to 10,000? Is this 100,000, right?
Yes.
Do you mind if I change it to 10,000?
Yep.
The only reason why I want to do this, guys, is because these are micro contracts, right? If we run this on 100,000, they're tiny, right? They require literally require $1,000 of margin to trade any one of these. If you want to trade all 4 of these, all you need is $4,000 of margin. And I mean for overnight, not for the day. For the day, you only need $50 worth of margin. So this is way over margin. I mean, it's fine. That's exactly what I trade about 10,000 against this size. But I just want to keep it realistic to what you would really trade relative to this. 100,000 is way too much money for these contracts at the size that we're trading. Okay. So, anyways, okay. So can I hit run test now?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. And so this thing is there's about 12 tests, right? I believe it says running 1 out of 12, right? And it's just going to pop. What it's going to do is it's actually opening up my my MT5, and then closing it, opening and closing it, opening and closing it like 12 times. It's just literally running the test. And the point is that this little process. Now I'm going to talk over it. And, we can discuss it. This little process is basically you can go make a cappuccino, right? You never remember if you were to do this manually. Remember how tedious it is. You got to pick every time. You got to pick a drop down menu. Pick the instrument. You got to pick the time frame. You got to hit there's 6 or 7 steps per contract. There's 12 possibilities, so it's like about 60 steps, right? All of you who've ever back tested something or have ever tried to back test, to get the answers that this thing is going to give us in a couple of minutes would require at least 60 steps of manual labor. Am I pretty accurate in saying that, Daniel?
Oh yeah, it's extremely tiring, and you would just give up. It's not necessarily all the clicks you have to do, which are annoying. It's just the waiting, the 2 minutes or the 20 seconds until each back test is done, and then restarting it, and then waiting again. This will really get.
So yeah, correct. It's not just that it's like 60 discrete manual steps. It's the fact that it won't go forward until you do the next thing, until you do the next thing, until you do this thing. So, and Daniel's actually very right. I've done this a million times. You run like 1 or 2 back tests, and they're like, okay, they're good but not great, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I don't care. I'm just too tired. I don't get, I can't fucking do this all night long. Good enough. I'll use these parameters for what I want to do. I'm just curious, how many of you have had that conversation internally in your head in testing MT4 or MT5? I'm actually curious, how many of you have ever tested an EA in MT4 or MT5? Has anybody ever run a back test? Not yet. Okay. Let's see if anybody has. No? You've done numerous back tests in MT4. Dan, has it been the most boring, tedious thing of your life? Am I boring? Dan wrote boring in big letters, like all capital letters. So he knows what he speaks of. Excuse me. And we're not, oh God, sorry guys. I think I'm catching a cold actually, which, hopefully it's just a cold. Really, these days I'm so freaked out. All right, give me a second. I gotta.
Yeah, while Boris is recovering, maybe a few words from me. The way I use the back test, because we developed this out of my own need, for my own back test needs back in the day, is I specify my back test right before I go to bed. And usually there are much more than 12. They are in the hundreds, and they take a long time to complete. And I just start them before I go to bed, and then when I wake up in the morning, I get the test results, and I can analyze them. But I don't have to sit there at night to run these tests manually, one step at a time. And to me, that was a big game changer to test my EAs. And I do test a lot of EAs. I develop them professionally every day for my own needs, but also for clients, and they need to be tested. And thorough testing is extremely tedious, and this tool helps me a lot to perform test EAs, and from a developer's perspective also to test the robustness. Does this EA really work on all timeframes without breaking down? From a functional point of view. So that's was important to me, but also of course from a trading performance point of view.
So there are a lot of questions here. So first of all, just to show you, the tests have been run. It made about $600 on 10,000, 6% in about a month and a half with a 3.5% drawdown. That's another, by the way, that's another really good metric that I like to use. How much money did it make? How much did it draw down? Like if you want to go for a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio, that's my favorite risk-reward ratio. Total profit to maximum drawdown, if that's at around 2-to-1, you got a pretty decent looking robust strategy. And also the strategy has done 703 trades. So you have a lot of, anything above 200 gives you a lot of confidence that this isn't just noise and random, random trading in the strategy. Okay, but I have a couple of questions here. So let me, because some of them are naturally, questions. So Rodrigo is asking this, and I'm going to lob them to you, and you respond, Daniel. So this program is only an EA backtester, or can it set any strategy directly?
No, you would need to have an EA installed. So yeah, you need to have an EA. Either you can use the built-in EAs which come with MT5. I believe, or MT4. There are a bunch of EAs that you can use, or use, for example, Session Trader from Boris, or some of his EAs, or any other EAs that you may acquire on the market. But yes,
Correct.
an EA is a precondition.
Right. So obviously you have to have a strategy. This is a tester of any strategy, any EA you've ever owned, bought, or made can be tested. Okay. The next question comes from Miguel. He says you upload the strategy code in the first step. That's correct. Remember where it said Session Trader 11? Should I go back? Can I go back?
Yeah, I think you should go back. Yeah.
Okay. So if we go back, and what you can see here is, see the EA from a drop-down list. I had a whole bunch of EAs on my MT5, and so we chose the latest version of the strategy that Daniel and I developed, the Session Trader EA. It's right here. That's what it's testing. It's testing this.
And all that's needed, Miguel, is that the EA is installed in MT5. As soon as it's installed, it's in the right folder. The MT5 Portfolio Tester will pick it up automatically. There's no need to actually upload it to this tool. As soon as it's in MT5, it's available also on the strategy tester.
Yeah, like what you saw me do is exactly what you did. I didn't add anything. Like this is brand new. I literally opened this up. I haven't configured this. This program is exactly what you would have. You'd open it up. You just simply choose your folder, and boom, 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 everything is popular. Last question comes from Dan, who says, can you modify the EA parameters for each run, such as in an optimization style? Yes.
So
go ahead.
So you cannot run optimizations, but what you can do is you can save the configuration that you'd like to test as a preset, and then you choose the preset drop down there to run this configuration. And for example, if you had 2 presets, which in this case we have by chance, you can actually add a second test run. Or if you go to the add button at the top bottom right, down the green button.
Yeah.
So there you could, for example, specify a second test run. You can pick the EA again, this time with a different preset, which would be a different configuration. And again, you would pick the symbols and so forth, and you can run both configurations in one session and get the results at the end.
Yeah, actually, you know what? So actually, I'm actually curious. Let's just do Dow, because the Dow preset. Let's just do Dow. I think like a 12-minute run.
But don't hit run test yet. I think you still have the 12 test cases selected in the first run. It will take too long. So maybe go to the first specification, but under test runs. Yeah, click there and take out some of the symbols there. Otherwise, it will take too long.
Oh, so they're going to run them all?
Yeah, I would run them all again. Yes.
But what about, is it going to erase the results in the results file? I don't want to screw this up because we already ran the results into the results.
If you change the file name, then it would not erase them. So if you change it from results to results one.
If I call this results YM.
Yes.
Or results Dow. Let's stay away from futures nomenclature. So if I say results Dow, unselect all on the first one, right? And unselect all on this one, right? And then I go.
Oh, then you would need to remove this test run, otherwise it's not going to allow it. So click on the remove button at the end there. Yes, now you can just run it again.
And I can just run the second test, right?
Yeah. Okay. Which would just be one test in this case.
Just one test. So basically the point is you can run a variety of configurations and a variety of tests. Also, I'm really against optimization. We're going to show you optimization is just a fancy word for data mining and cheating. We're going to show you a way to really discover more profitable ideas. So this was just a 12 minutes on the Dow, did about 38 trades, about 1.6%, not too bad, a pretty decent profit factor. So just to show you that particular test. Okay, so what do I do next, Daniel?
Next, we're going to analyze the test results. So
okay,
if you could just, maybe I should do this on my end.
Yeah,
I'd like
I think it's better for you because I'm not an Excel jockey as you are. So, do you want me to give you the screen?
Yes, please.
Or you can take the screen from me. Can you take the screen from me or no?
Let me see if I can. I don't think so.
No. Okay. Let me see if I can give you my screen. Okay, hang on. So I want to do. Just bear with me. It's been a while I've been doing. Okay, Daniel. Make presenter. Okay, verify change. Are you sure you want Daniel to be presenter? Yes.
Perfect. All right.
All
Okay.
right, cool. Oh, look at this funkadelic.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually change it. That was my small laptop screen.
Yeah.
Can you guys see my Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah, looks great.
Perfect. Okay, so this is exactly what the MT5 Portfolio Tester would give to you at the end of a test run. It would summarize all the test results in an Excel spreadsheet. And then what you can do, you can go through these test results and analyze them to your own needs. So what I'd like to do, and I'm just going to give you some basic steps how I approach such an analysis. I first switch on filters in Excel. So I select the very first row, the header row of Excel, and I go in the Home tab all the way to the right and select filter. And basically what this does, it allows you to hide or show some of these rows here. For example, if I'm only interested in, let's say, the NASDAQ futures, ENQ, in this case, I only select this one and boom, you will only see the results for the NASDAQ futures. That's one trick I use all the time. Or let me just disable this filter. I'm only interested, let's say, in the 6-minute time frame. So what I can do is I just select the 6-minute time frame, and boom, I have the results here. So this is a very nice trick in Excel to analyze this amount of data. Another thing I often do, just to get an idea of what's going on, I select some key rows here. For example, the P&L column. And I just by selecting all the rows in the P&L column, I can see the total of it. Just by looking down here, we can see, okay, the sum total of all the P&Ls of these test runs would have been $7,700, for example. Okay, so, and if I would like to find out, okay, which of these timeframes contribute the most to it, and of course, there are not many rows in here, I can just switch on the filter again, highlight the P&L column, look at how much was generated. In this case, $6,000 alone by the M12 timeframe. And this gives me an idea that the M12 timeframe, for example, would have been the most profitable one for this EA in this configuration.
Guys, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just so there's no confusion, Daniel actually tested. This is all on the big futures contracts. Like, what you maybe are wondering, how come mine was only 600 and his is 7,000? Because he's trading the big futures contract, and I was trading the micros. That's all. So just multiply by 10, and you get very much the similar results as mine. So just sort of, so there's no confusion or any kind of obfuscation here. Go ahead.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so this is one test run, the one that Boris did, just with different symbols. But I'd like to show you a more extensive test run and how you can use Excel to do your analysis. So I'm going to load it. I already prepared it here. This was an actual test run I ran overnight a couple of days ago. Again, on the Session Trader EA, and I ran it on a host of different symbols. I think maybe 12 different symbols or even more, and all the possible timeframes that are available in MT5.
Right.
The total.
Let's just show them some of the symbols that you ran it off so they understand. So they know what these are. So this is oil, CLE. DD is DAX. GCE is gold. I don't even know what Cleve D20 is.
It doesn't matter. I just selected all. I did like a brute force.
I think that's oil. ENQ is NASDAQ. EP is S&P. NQ is NASDAQ, RTY is Russell, and MJK, I think it's a natural gas, whatever.
That's silver. That's silver. Oh no,
that's silver. Sorry, that's silver.
Or maybe this is silver. It doesn't matter.
No, MNQ, yeah, one of these is silver. So basically, we tested it on the stock index futures, the DAX, a little bit of gold, and I think some variants of oil. I think either oil and natural gas as well.
Exactly. And in addition to this, we also ran it on all kinds of timeframes, and we had 3 different configurations loaded for this test. For one configuration, we didn't use any filtering for the test signals. The other configuration was we used a momentum filter that only if we had positive momentum would go long, and only if we had negative momentum would go short. And then the third configuration was a reversal filter. We would do the opposite, just for kicks and shizzles. If we tried, for example, if we had negative momentum and a trade signal, we went long. and vice versa, just to try things out. Okay, so what I do when I have so many tests, these are more than 700 test runs here, and this can be quite overwhelming just to look at them. So I approach this systematically. So the first thing I do, I typically filter. Again, you can see the filters are enabled in Excel. I filter by configuration to see which of these configuration was actually the most profitable one across the board. So for example, I start with the no filter configuration. Then I just sum up the P&L and look down here and see, okay, this one would have been losing, minus 300,000, not good. Then I would pick, for example, the reversal configuration. Again, I hover over the P&L to see the total, minus 800,000, also not very good. And then the last one we had was the momentum configuration. Again, we look at the total P&L, and here we can see, a plus of $200,000. So maybe the momentum configuration is the most promising one. So now we already have narrowed down our selection, our test to 252 tests out of 755. What I do then, I just copy over all these rows which have been selected with this filter and put them into a new spreadsheet, just so I have them only available, so I don't confuse them with the other test runs that I have. Okay, so this is just the momentum filter here. Okay.
So just to pause for 1 second. So this is 252 tests, not 252 trades. Each test has like between 100 to maybe 50 trades. So that means there is like thousands of trades here. That gives you confidence that this is meaningful data. Okay, that this is not just so many trades. There's what, 8,400 trades. Is that correct? Yeah, that's a lot of trades. 8,000 trades.
8,000 trades in total. It depends on which time frame was selected. For example, on the M1 time frame here, we had a lot of trades, 151. Right. Here we only had one trade, but it was a 3-hour time frame. That makes sense. Of course, on the 3 hours we trade much less. Right. Okay, so now I have I do further analysis, and for example, what we could do is we could find out, okay, for this configuration, which time frame would have been the most profitable one. Okay, so what we would do, we would be interested in seeing what is the P&L for each individual time frame totaled up across about over all these symbols. So what I do, and if you know a little bit about Excel, what you can do, you can select the time frame column here. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to copy it into a new tab here. So you have all these time frames here. And the first step that I do, I remove all the duplicates because they come from, we may have the same time frame a few times. So what you can do, you select the column, you go to data, and you remove duplicates. So these are.
This is like a lesson in Excel as well as it is a lesson in backtesting. I'm loving this. It's all recorded, guys. So I'm gonna watch it along with you on replay. Go ahead.
So now I'm interested. Okay, how much money did I make on the M1 time frame alone, for example, or on the M12 time frame alone? So what you can do, you can use an Excel function, which is called SUMIF, which basically allows you to create a sum of rows if a certain condition is met. So in this case, for example, we'd like to sum up all the rows where the time frame column was M1. So what you would do, you do SUMIF, you go back to your source spreadsheet, and you select the time frame column, because here all the time frames are given. Then you go back to your source, to your analysis spreadsheet, and you select the time frame that you'd like to compare it to, in this case M1. And the last argument for this function is what you would like to actually sum up. So you go back to your source spreadsheet, and in this case, you would like to sum up all the P&Ls. Okay, all right, and you say enter, and now you have the sum of all the test runs on the M1 time frame across all these symbols. In this case, the P&L for all these test runs was $9,748. Okay, and you can now just drag down on this little field here across all the time frames, and automatically Excel will calculate for you what was the P&L, the sum of the P&Ls for each time frame. Okay, and you can easily see here just by looking at it that the M10 time frame was the most profitable one, with $72,000 alone on the M10 time frame for this configuration.
Also, just sort of, I don't mean to interrupt you, but also just when you eyeball this, right? What's interesting here is because we're not looking for precision, we're looking for behavioral characteristics. What you see here is that there are two effective time frames when things seem to work. On like between a 10 and 15 minute time frame, sort of like the shorter intermediate time frame, or on a longer time frame between the 2 and the 8 hours, right? You look at the hour 2, hour 6, hour 8, all of those, from 30 minutes up to about 8 hours seems to work really, really well, right? Is that correct? Is that H2? Am I looking at the M2, H8, H4? Is that those are
H2
hours?
is 2 hours. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sort of like in those clumps it works well, but then when you get outside of those clumps, it doesn't. So this kind of tells you, okay, so if I'm going to run this, it probably should run it somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes on a short-term charts, and somewhere between 2 and 4 hours, 2 and 8 hours on a longer-term charts. So it's either a swing trade or a day trade within these parameters. It's a rough estimate, but better to be, as John Maynard Keynes said, it better be generally right than absolutely wrong, right? This already gives you some very interesting insight into what's working, what's not.
That's right. Yeah. And another analysis, and it won't take long, we could do is we could check on which symbol, independent of the time frame, would have given us the best result. So the same exercise, I just select the symbol column in my source spreadsheet. I will just paste it in here. I will remove the duplicates. So data, remove duplicates. And it won't take long, Boris. Don't worry.
No. We trust me. These guys are going to be. They're going to want to hang. I'm going to want to hang because this is really interesting stuff. You guys all want to hang, right? We got nowhere to go, guys. Right? This is going to be because we'll hang with you for as long as you guys want with us because he's going to show you some very cool stuff. Go ahead.
Now do the same calculation, but this time I'll sum it up over the symbol instead of the time frame. So sum if, again, it's the same Excel function. In my source spreadsheet, I now select all the symbols column, comma. The second argument is the symbol I'm comparing it to. In this case, the symbol here in the cell, and then comma again. Now I have to select the range which I would like to sum up. So my P&L column. All right. And now it gives me the sum total or the P&L generated just by this symbol alone. In this case, the DAX, the continuous contract of the DAX. And if I pull down here, okay, as you can see here, it will now populate the sums for all the symbols involved. And for example, what we could see here is that this symbol, which happens to be the silver futures, is or was the most profitable one for this EA.
Right. So let's go through these symbols and I can sort of show you what's going on. So the first is DAX, second is silver, third is S&P, fourth is NASDAQ, and the fifth is the Dow. Okay, and they're all making money. They're all making money, and there is something completely unified in all those symbols. What is it? What is it? Is that they're all in strong trend momentum, right? Like these symbols are responding to the strategy because there is continuity of movement in all of these symbols, right? That's what you need to understand. Like what's making money is the regime. The regime across all of these things is really making money. So at very minimum, what this is saying is, hey, if you find a trending instrument, if you find a market that seems to be in trend, this thing is going to clean up because it knows how to trade trend really well, right? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I understand that even now you have all the test runs given to you by the portfolio tester. The analysis itself can be grueling, and you need to know a bit about Excel to do all this stuff manually. But there's an easier way even to do it. So what you could do is you could use another tool, which we call the portfolio analyzer. Oh, sorry, the portfolio architect. We just created it as well. And I'm just going to create a new project. And I'm going to use the example of the first Excel spreadsheet, the small one here, just so it doesn't take too long. So if I wanted to analyze what's going on here, instead of doing it by hand in Excel, I could use this tool, Portfolio Architect. And all I need to do, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller, is I need to copy. Where are they? Give me 1 second. Hang on. Oh, just opened up a new window. Sorry. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to copy over the individual test runs generated by MT5, which were generated when we ran the portfolio test, which I copied into the BK Forex folder here when I ran the test before. So what I do, I just copy over all the HGM reports, which MT5 will generate for you for every backtest. So I just select them and I drag them just with my mouse into this window here. And what it does, it will populate, well, all these files will be shown here, and an analysis will be given to you as to what is the portfolio performance, that is the combined performance of all these tests put together. Okay, so for example, what we can see here is that the combined performance of all these test runs together was $7,716, exactly the same amount that we had in Excel as well. But in addition to this, it also gives you more detailed analysis. For example, you can see, okay, what is my distribution between long and short trades? What's my profit factor? Again, in total or between long and short trades, drawdown, total number of trades, winning trades, and so forth. Okay, you can see how did my equity evolve over time. What was my distribution from a month-to-month point of view? In this case, you only ran the back test on 2 months, so you only have 2 months displayed. What's my distribution across weekdays? So we could see here, for example, wow, this strategy really worked well on Monday, Thursday, and Friday, not so much in the middle of the week. What was my distribution during the day in terms of hours? We could see here, for example, in the morning hours GMT, it worked really well. Afterwards, it was more diverse, the results, and so forth. So this tool will give you all kinds of analysis about your portfolio of tests. Yeah? Something which you could figure out using Excel, but it's tedious to do. And one thing I'd like to show you as well is, for example, instead of looking at all the test runs together, what if we're only interested in the tests run on the M12 timeframe? Wow, very easy. What we can do is we can create a sub-portfolio, which I will name the M12 portfolio, for example. And now I can just drag in the individual M12 tests into this portfolio. Just a second. Here's one more. And then I select the portfolio. Now I see the combined performance of all these tests on the M12 timeframe only, along with all the other statistics that you've seen. A similar principle, if I want to see all the tests which were, for example, executed on the Russell future contract, the RTY contract. Well, easy. Again, I would create a new sub-portfolio. It's called RTY. And I would just drag in these 3 test runs here into the RTY portfolio. I select it, and I see the performance given or generated just by these test runs put together. So this allows you to do the same kind of analysis I've done with Excel manually, but within the tool. And in addition, you get all kinds of other statistics as well, such as Sharpe ratio and other ratios, which will allow you to analyze the performance of your portfolio even further. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. One more thing, Boris, if you don't mind, I would like to show. Let me quickly go back to MT5. Okay, and this is just a regular MT5 back test, and I'm going to use the Session Trader EA version 11. I'm going to execute on the M15 timeframe. Yeah.
And is this, Daniel? Is this the one? Is this the one that I told you about that we're using?
Yes.
The 60/30.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So just sort of to set you up. So this is something interesting. This actually, Daniel and I did this afternoon to kind of like when we're working with a tool. And I want to run this case study with you because I think this is where this tool comes in so interestingly for us. So in our BK room, we trade the Dow CFD, which is the YM futures, with a 30 target and a 60 stop, 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, right? And I basically kind of, it's working well. We're making money. I'm kind of happy. I do a little bit of intervention from time to time, but I never really deeply thought about why it's working well and where it's not working well, and what can I do? So I said, hey, let's do a realistic analysis. Let's take a look at what the hell we're doing in the room and see what we can learn from this. So this is where we kind of started this afternoon. I wanted to share this with you to show you how cool this product is. So go ahead. Let's start. So we start with the 15-minute Dow time frame, 30 stop, 60 target, which is exactly what we trade in the room. We ran it from the beginning of the year to the front of the year, right? Okay.
Exactly, for 8 months, 9 months.
That's
So
right.
we get the results here, and its default configuration. If you would run it 24/7 or 24/5, we would get a negative overall performance. But let's
Right. So
understand a little bit better.
that actually surprised me. So I was like, huh, because it's working. It's working in the room. We're making money. Why is it negative? So we get the results. Now this is where it gets very cool. Go ahead.
So what we can do, we can go to the backtest tab in MT5. We do a right click and we select report and select HTML output. This will now save the results in an HTML file. I'm just going to call it the YM, the Dow futures.
Yeah.
YM.
Dow.
Oh yeah.
YM raw. That's why they were Dow.
It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I will save it. So now, in order to do further analysis, what I can do is I can go back to the portfolio tester.
Right. Now, we just saved it, just kind of let you understand. We just saved it as a pure HTML file. This is where it gets very, very cool. So we have this portfolio architect, right? It's just sitting here. Now, this stuff is ugly as hell, right? This is the basic backtest that everybody gets in MT4. Go ahead and try to deduce an insight from this. Go, be my guest. I've never been able to.
It is tough. Yes.
I've never been able to like, what does this all mean? So now let's see what and all I have to do is take that HTML file, right?
Exactly. So what we do, we just go back to what the location of the file.
Right.
I have to quickly find it. Where did I put it? My MT5 tests. Yeah. Now we just drag in the YM raw file into the portfolio analyzer, and I get a full analysis of what's going on in terms of metrics, returns, distribution, my equity curve, and so forth. But also I get a month by month analysis, a weekday analysis, but also an hourly analysis. And just by maybe Boris, you want to explain what you can see here.
So this is where it gets interesting, right? Because the key to winning in trading is actually not winning trades, right? Winning trades are easy. Winning trades, it's like everything else in life. The key to making money is to keep the money, right? The key to winning in the market is to keep your winnings, which what it really means is that you need to assiduously remove as many losing trades, as many dumb trade ideas as possible. It's not, you're not looking to win. Winning is the easiest thing in the world. What you're looking to do is eliminate the losses as much as possible. If you can do that, if you can, eliminate the whole point of having an EA is that you don't make stupid entries, right? You have very dedicated logic, and that's the great advantage of an EA versus manual. We talked about this actually in my room today about how manual entry, you go for a cup of coffee, your wife yells at you, your dog decides to jump on you, you miss the entry, you chase the entry, you get the wrong entry, you get pissed off, you double down, you average out, you take a 50-point stop loss and make it into a 5,000 stop loss because of manual entry. With an EA, you avoid all that, right? However, that's just step one. Step two is, okay, I've got my entries automated. How can I refine my exits so I'm not making stupid exits? And this is where this is so valuable. So what we noticed right away is that, look, and this, by the way, is all on GMT time, so that means 0 GMT. All MT5 always defaults to GMT, so 0 GMT for those of you who need a configuration. That's 8 o'clock at night, New York, and whatever. It's midnight. It's or 8 a.m. in Singapore, Tokyo, and Hong Kong, or like midnight in London. Okay, so that's basically where it starts from. So what you see from this chart is that what you think was like kind of like the most obvious thing, which is, hey, let's trade the New York Open, 10 o'clock to 1400 GMT, is basically like 6 a.m. till about like 9, 10 o'clock, you know, in the morning, New York, right? That whole New York open session, that is a disaster. That is basically a disaster. Now, you know, I can explain to you why, and you know, one of the things the reason why we've been positive is because I manually stop trading during this hour because I observe stuff, right? But here's data that basically shows me that what I've been doing instinctually is actually can be done so much better. And so you look at this and you go, oh man, this EA is really just good from 0 to about 7 o'clock GMT, 7 to 8 o'clock GMT, 9 o'clock GMT, right? And after that, if you just stop trading, you probably would do much better. So the next, go ahead, Daniel. So what do we do next?
So what we could do is we could actually restrict the EA to only take trades during these hours and avoid all these trades here. And so what we can do, and that's a feature of the EA itself,
Right.
Session
So
Trader EA.
Fortunately, we can control when it turns on, turns off. So
exactly. So here in the parameter continuity time 1 start and continuity time 1 end, you can define what are the trading sessions for the EA. For example, we could say here, okay, I only would like to trade from let me just go back to the results here. Let's say only I would like to trade from
0 GMT to about 7 or 8. Is that it?
No, I would like to trade maybe first from 6 a.m. from like including this one until maybe 10. Let's include only these trades here.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's try this. So let me go back real quick, and I will change it from 6 till, let's say, 10.
So that's in GMT time, which is 2 o'clock in the morning New York till about 6 o'clock in the morning New York. This is basically London Open. This is basically so this is kind of interesting. So we're just basically trading the Dow during the London Open, right? And it's running, and this is like the whole year running, right? So, or year to date running, right? And this is kind of interesting. So let's see what happens here.
All right, so this will just take a little bit to finish.
It won't be too long.
Perfect. So it's finished. We can already see we're not losing money anymore. We're actually in the positive now. And
Right.
if I just simply export this file as well, this will only take a second. For example, to YM, let's call it 6 to 10. It was
6 to 10, yeah, 10.
Okay, and I import this again into the portfolio analyzer. Just a second. Just gonna drag it in. Where is it?
6 to 10.
YM. Yeah. I can put it in here. Oh, that's the wrong one.
No, it's the 6 to 10. It's the first one.
The first one. Exactly.
That's it.
And now what I can do, again, I can create a sub portfolio here. I call it a YM 6 to 10. I drag in this file into the sub portfolio, and now it will give you the portfolio analysis of only the 6 to N setting. And as you can see here in the hourly, of course, we only have trades in those market times that we had specified. Okay.
Right.
Okay, and then the last one, what if, let me just go back here. Sorry, bear with me, I'll call this original. Just want to contrast it real quick. What if you wanted to trade, let's say we change the configuration one more time. In this case, instead of just limiting ourselves to from 6 till 10, we will trade from 0 all the way till 9:30 or 10 o'clock.
Okay? Yeah, 9:30. Actually, we truncated to 9:30. That was actually your idea. It was a good idea. Like, just like, let's not go to the full hour. Let's go to the half hour, and we can stop at like, at any interval. So.
Yeah, as you'll see here, this will actually give you, as expected, based on the analysis from the portfolio architect, this will give you the best results. So as this back test continues, you'll see already now we are in a much better condition than the other test runs.
So there's a couple of interesting things here that as it's running, I kind of want to point your finger to, because yeah, it's obviously performing well, but it doesn't mean that it's always performs well, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't have intra-week drawdowns or things like that. But why this is a high confidence strategy is really interesting. So what you'll notice here is you'll see this whole, sorry,
Oh,
you want to go
sorry.
back?
Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, what you'll notice here, just sort of when you're looking at the graph, is that there's this period here for quite a long time between February and basically May, right? When it stays relatively flat, right? Now, what happened between February and May, for those of you who are in the market? We had the single fastest, most vicious bear market ever, where the volatility was insane, right? And movements were just crazy. And generally, when you're trading trend-based systems or momentum-based systems, that kind of volatility, that kind of whipsaw price action is not positive for the strategy. Yet this strategy was robust enough because we stayed, to key market hours, and we also ran it with a momentum filter, which we didn't talk about this, but there was a momentum filter in it that really helped us too. By adhering to a strict set of rules both on time and entry structure, we basically were able to survive the single worst bear market, the single fastest bear market in the history of the stock market, staying flat. That is a massive win, right? So when things are bad, if you can just not bleed money, and when things are good, you can start making money, that is the quintessence of a good strategy. That is literally the very definition of a good strategy, right? That's what gives you enormous amount of confidence in being able to trade this. So this data that we were able to visually analyze gave us insights. I was doing this kind of instinctually, but now I can do this with much greater confidence because I have a data to support my actions, and I have a lot of confidence in how the behavior set of this particular strategy has been working. And most importantly, I can avoid unnecessary risks, right? We've been avoiding sort of New York Open much of the time, but occasionally I'll put my toe in, I'll waddle my toe in, I'll want to trade it. Now I see how stupid that is. That is it may make you feel good for a day or two, but that is a loser proposition, right? It's a stupid bet. This has helped me isolate that idea in a matter of minutes, something I would have never been able to do manually, or if I did this manually, it would have taken me weeks of manual backtesting to come to an insight that took me basically 20 minutes with Daniel's tool. So that's why I think it's so cool, because any strategy you test, you can refine this way very quickly and quickly get to the core of what's wrong and what's right. Once you can isolate what's wrong, what's right, you can then trade the strategy much better.
Yeah, and Boris, one thing which is also cool, is we actually have all these tools which I showed today at a limited time special offer. We are giving them out for 50% of the price. We have them on the store right now, and this includes the MT5 Portfolio Tester, like the batch test tool, which allows you to automate your MT5 back tests. It includes the Portfolio Architect, where you can do your intelligence analysis of your testing. And if you have MT4, of course, we also have the MT4 Portfolio Tester included in this offer. So all what you need to do is to go to our website, tradingindicators.com/smart-tools. And Boris, maybe you can enter this into the chat.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. Tradingindicators.com/smart-tools. And during checkout, all you need to do is to enter the discount code AUTOMATE. And so if you do this, 50% will be taken off the sales price.
Yeah, they need to just specify if they want MT4. Probably most of you want MT4 because that's what most of you are trading. So you just want to make sure that you get the MT4. And I'm sure if you get the wrong one, Daniel will be happy to.
Oh yes, this will not be a problem.
Exactly. Tools. Let me see if this is. Let me see if I can send this to all. Tell me if you guys got it.
So the way it will look like, you're gonna see this, and you either have the choice between the MT5 Portfolio Tester, which is on special right now because we just released it. You have the MT4 Portfolio Tester, which we've been offering for almost a year now in version 3.0, and then we have the Portfolio Architect. And of course, each of these tools, they come with with a lot of details, screenshots, instructional videos, and so forth, and instructions how to install and use them.
And I'll definitely send you the link in the email. So Miguel is asking, does the Smart Tools calculate Sharpe, Sortino, and Omega ratios? It definitely calculates the Sharpe. I think the Sortino also. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
Sharpe and
Sortino.
Sortino. Of course,
Yeah.
these only work properly if you have testing done across multiple years, because they're really investment performance metrics for longer term investments. On short term trades, like half a year, a couple of months, these ratios are not so important.
Yeah. You know what's really important if you want to know the strategy? Like I'm going to give you the ratios from the School of Hard Knocks. What's really important, what you want to do is, like as I said, profits against drawdowns, like percent gain against drawdown. If you basically have a 10% gain on your portfolio or 10% gain on your strategy with a 5% drawdown, that is as good as it gets. That's the 2-to-1 ratio you want to be looking for. Now, if you have a 10 to 10, that's still pretty good. 10 to 10 is still a pretty decent return. Now, if you have a 10% return and a 20% drawdown, that's not so good. That's where you want to really re-examine the strategy, and probably that strategy is not very robust, and it simply got lucky that year to make money. It's hiding the fact that it bleeds out. So that's what you want to be looking at on an analysis basis.
Yeah. And maybe one thing to mention, just real quick, Boris, since you mentioned a drawdown is of course a factor of your starting equity size. And in the portfolio architect, you have the chance to actually set the starting equity. And if you look at the drawdown here on $5,000, in the raw version, we had a drawdown of 63%. But if I, of course, change the starting equity to, let's say, $50,000, the drawdown will be much less. It's only 8.4%. So
yeah, because you're trading the big one, because you're trading this, because what he's doing here is he's trading 5,000 against a $160,000 notional contract. You got to understand the big YM is a $160,000 notional contract, and so of course it's going to draw down 60%, 60% against the 5,000. When you have $5,000, you trade the micro YM, which is only 16,000 notional, and then it would only be a 6% drawdown. Okay, so it's again, somebody's asking me here, Ismail is asking me, what is the realistic ideal amount of money to start the system with? And the answer is, it all depends on the size of the contract you trade. So I'm going to use the futures example, but you can do the same thing on CFDs. You can trade CFDs for basically a dollar a point, right? A dollar a point. And if you're trading CFDs a dollar a point, that's effectively like trading the futures at a micro level. And that, if you're trading a dollar a point, you should be doing about $10,000 equity against that. You can use as little as $1,000, right? You can use as little as $1,000, but then expect to have a $500 drawdown. Like you want to double your money from 1,000 to 2,000. Totally reasonable, but expect to lose half of it, during the journey, because that's really what can happen. You want to have a much more less of a roller coaster ride. Then you start with 10,000, and then the worst you're going to get is maybe 500 to $1,000 drawdown, and then you're going to make only $1,000 on 10,000. So the answer is, it's completely dependent on how much risk you want to assume, but you have to have a realistic idea of risk, and this is what this gives you. This gives you a realistic idea of what's going to happen to your money over a period of time when you trade it. So if you drop just $1,000 here on a micro contract, you will sometime during the life of this strategy probably be down to only $600. But then, when the environment changes into a nice trending environment like we've had, you're gonna be able to double your money.
yeah,
Okay?
as you can see here on the 5,000, for example, you would have dropped down over the year since January 2020. Well, you start with 5,000, you peak at that point was 6,300, but then you dropped also down to 3,600, 3,500 here even.
Yeah. So you lost. This is actually not. You lost $1,500. So it's not the end of the world. It's actually, like the worst you did was your $1,500 down, and then it comes back up and makes it peaks out at about $1,000, $1,000 more. So not bad. I mean, it's totally dependent what you want to trade. I'm actually like a big believer. I used to be a big believer in like, hey, drop a lot of money and be conservative. And now I'm completely the opposite. The opposite around. If you're okay, like you need to be mentally okay, saying I'm going to drop 2,000 and it's going to, and it may go down to just $1,000, but I'm going to keep on trading this because I know that when it catches a good regime, when it catches the proper market regime, this thing is going to double for me. I think for retail traders of how we trade, that's actually probably the better mindset. I mean, it all depends on you. I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. But I think it's a better mindset. I mean, we're not in this game to make 5%. 5% is what you give your serious money in the bank, right? That's what your retirement money is. We're in this game to gamble and speculate. And if you want to speculate, you want to try to go double. Now, if you want to double, you have to have the realistic expectation that you're going to be halved somewhere during your lifetime. The key isn't, the fear of losing money. The key is to have a tool that has a realistic chance of doubling it. And so, of course, this strategy, one of those examples where it actually is able to do that. So that's my little riff on all that.
Yeah.
Guys, did everybody get it? Somebody give me a yes or no on the link. I want to make sure the link is working because I sent it to the group. Did you guys get it? Okay, great. Carl says yes. Mel says yes.
And don't forget to enter discount code automate, otherwise you'll be charged full price. And
right.
This is going to be available for perhaps a week from now on.
Right. So I will, of course, I have this. I'm going to make the video. I'll send it out first thing tomorrow morning to everybody. I'll send the code out. I mean, I'll send this. I'll send all this information with in the email. It's great. What's the policy like if they buy this product, Daniel? Right, and Daniel is always making it better, always improving it. What's the policy on like upgrades or improvements? How does that work?
Yeah, within the same generation of the tool, this is generation 3 for the MT5 and 4 Portfolio Tester and generation 2 of the Portfolio Architect. Of course, upgrades and bug fixes are included. And if, for example, you notice something that's not working perfectly, you will just send me an email. There's a contact form on our webpage as well, and I will get to the bug fix right away. We, for example, just had one recently. I think it was fixed in less than a day.
Right.
And yeah, of course, these fixes are always included. And if you have suggestions for additional features for any of these tools, just let me know. And if I think they're doable and possible, I'll be happy to add them in free of charge.
How did the portable fix in a couple of hours? Sorry, I don't understand. I'm not.
Oh no, if for example if there's a bug in the tool and somebody notifies me about it, for example, this tool does not work with this MT5 installation, for example, I will of course fix it. And often the bug fix will only take a couple of hours, and you have a revised version.
Because Daniel is a really good programmer. That's why. Because nobody knows that better than I do. Who bothers him every day, 5 times a day to do various things, and he's able to always deliver. So there was something else. Oh, how would you start with developing a new strategy? So Michael, I would say, what's cool is that first of all, use my strategy. That's a good, it's a really good one. But also, first of all, I have a lot of strategies on BK. And there's a lot of strategies, either for a small nominal fee or for free on the internet, that you can then drop into these tools, right? And then test. Because here's the thing that's interesting, Michael. You'll find a lot of these strategies, they suck, right? They suck. But using this tool, you could say, oh, you know what? They suck like most of the time, but there's a couple of times where they're actually pretty good. And what if I just restricted them to those particular times, to these particular, instruments? Do I have, is there a reasonable chance that they're going to work? And a lot of times there is. The whole idea, as I kind of want to finish up with all of this, it's not that you're going to find the perfect strategy. What you want to do is you want to find the most robust strategy. The robust strategy is defined as making money when things are going its way and not losing money when things are not going its way. And then continuously make as few stupid trades as possible, right? The whole essence of trading is to continuously make as few stupid trades as possible. We know what the good trades are. The good trades are easy. It's trying to just not make the stupid ones. And that, by the way, requires actually algo trading. Nobody has a discipline to make, we are programmed to make stupid trades as human beings. In fact, the market counts on it. In fact, that's where the profits come from. The profits come from all of us making stupid trades and giving back our money at the table. So this helps you eliminate that by first finding where the stupidity lies and then having the algo eliminated so you don't have to. And that's where the value, I think, is, really, really lies. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that, because, these are amazing tools. They're basically tools for a lifetime for a whole bunch of stuff that you can analyze. And also, I don't think we even mentioned this, Daniel. You said to me, the architect, which is the analytic, the part of it, it can use other, it can analyze other software, right? Like it can use NinjaTrader and.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. So you can import into the architect tool not only MT4 and MT5 files, but also Thinkorswim, TradeStation files, NinjaTrader 708, and Modifway files. So you can use this with all kinds of platforms.
Yeah, which is really amazing because there are people who just, like, for example, there are people who trade stocks and they have lots of TradeStation, EAs on that, or whatever they call them, TradeStation programs on it. And this will, you can drop it in and within 5 minutes say, oh yeah, this is interesting, or this is pure garbage, and it's clear, it's clearly not working. So I hope you guys really enjoy this because I certainly took away a lot from it today. And those of you guys who are trading with me in BK now know some interesting insights into what it showed. And I think it will help you. It will definitely help you on your path to becoming a better trader. If you're interested at all in kind of tempering your worst instincts and amplifying your best ideas, these are the tools that help you do that, right? So please get that. Let me see if there's any more questions here. Let me see. I think everybody is good. No, it looks like everybody's good. Okay, so are we good on everything? I will be sure to send this video to everybody tomorrow morning after we code it and define it, and I'll send you guys the link as well. Anything on your mind, Daniel? Are we good?
No, I think we're all set.
Okay, sounds great. All right, guys. Well, thank you. I'll see everybody in the markets. Thank you very, very much, Daniel, for your presentation. And I will send everybody the information how to get it. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Everybody have a wonderful day. See you guys later. Bye.